This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. How are we? It's Friday night. It's the preview show. Let me ask you something. You got any plans this weekend? Well, maybe in 1 day, 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 14 seconds if we're going to be precise. 10, 9, 8. You might just have one of these. Do you fancy a semi this weekend? I tell you what, it's been a long time since I've had a weekend semi. Well, it's a long time since I've had a semi at all, if I'm totally honest with you. Just ask the ex-missus. 1982 was the last time I had a semi. And I don't think I could manage one these days. But if you're going to enjoy a semi, let me also say that you might just enjoy this. Yes, it's Barry Pierpoint. You might enjoy Barry Pierpoint. I don't know if he's available, but he's got a book out, Minding My Own Football Business. It's the story of Leicester City in the 90s. I'll tell you something, right, guys. You look at the likes of Newcastle and some of these clubs now, and you think they're badly run. You want to see what Leicester was like early 1990s. We're better now. Let me just put it that way. Barry was our first chief executive. He took us from private to public ownership, probably set us up for a lot of what happened after that. Go to his website, mindingmyownfootballbusiness.com. Log in. You can get 30% off the book between now and the end of April, and Barry will even sign it for you. Are we good to you or what? He'll sign it with a personal message. Hey, I read it, and I've got to be honest with you, changed my mind about Barry. You know, you remember all those Pierpoint out posters? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. If it wasn't for him, we might have gone bust earlier than we did. We got so much going on for you this evening. Oh, am I good to you or what? It's the FA Cup. Are you ready for it? It is. I'll tell you what, it's our turn. Surely it's our turn by now. 4 times we've been there. Can we go all the way this season? That's something else I'd like to do more often, go all the way. I can't remember when that was either. Let me just take you back. See what you think of this. Brings a tear to your eyes, doesn't it? I'll tell you what, I didn't realise until I'd done that. There was no attempt at this. For those of us at a certain age, does that remind you of a certain Simon Bates Radio 1 hour tune? It was in the mid-70s when I started to fall in love. It was 11 men, and I used to see them probably once a week. They didn't even know I was there. I was just a face in the crowd to them, but they looked resplendent in their blue and white. Do you think I could do be Simon Bates? Yeah, maybe not Simon then, maybe Master. But again, that's another story. Hey, we've got a couple of guests out waiting patiently in the green room. Let me bring them in before they get bored. First of all, Craig, how the devil are you, sir?
I'm good, Chris. Thanks. I just got to say that you're looking gorgeous. I must admit in that shirt tonight. Plus all your sexual innuendos. Yeah, I think you're going to get a whole new audience.
I don't. We're it's like Carry On FA Cup tonight. The show, I'll tell you. You know, we've got a special competition going on, and we're going to have to thank this guy who's going to join us now, and that is a certain ex-player, Mr. Steve Linux. Good evening, Steve. How are you?
Good evening, guys. I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Thank you for being so
Steve.
patient.
Right, good, right.
Do you think I could get a job Radio 1 hour tune? Do you think I've missed my vocation? No.
I certainly found down a bit in case I've heard the innuendos, because you might think I was on a porn channel again. So
remember, if you watch this, to watch it on incognito, is it, or whatever it's called, you know. But it's semi-final weekend, 1 day, 23 hour, 20 minutes now. Not that I am counting. I've got to be honest with you. I am really excited. It has been literally, to say 1982 was the last time we were at this stage. And to celebrate the fact, and Steve has very kindly agreed to donate one of his programs from that game.
there you go.
I'm just trying to find it here. Just there, indeed. He will sign it for you. He will indeed. This is what it is. Have a look at this.
Stay tuned, as it's competition time from Leicester Till I Die TV, and it's your chance to win.
It is indeed, and as Steve just showed there, you can win a signed copy of this. He was in that game, and we're going to talk about that game a little bit. Of course, there was so much, everything went wrong, and apparently there was a loose cock as well. I've got to ask Steve about his loose cock, I'll tell you. Let's have a look. Steve will sign that for you. All you got to do is make sure you subscribe to Leicester Till I Die TV. You must be subscribed to the YouTube channel. And the question is, and I hope Steve's not going to give anything away here, but the question is, who was the substitute? It was back in the day when we were only allowed one substitute. Who was our substitute on the day? As I say, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you put the answer in the comments, and it will be drawn on Sunday. We'll draw the winner out just before the kickoff. You obviously know the answer, Steve, but don't say anything.
Yeah, I won't mention it.
Craig, I have to say, Craig always used to get me out with questions. He actually didn't know the answer till I told him, so I actually got one over on Craig, which makes my life worth living, I'll tell you. Tell me, I mean, we're going to, before we come on to this, it was the last semi. I was there. Obviously, Steve was there. Obviously. Were you there, Craig?
I was there. I was there indeed. I was behind the goal where both goals went in, unfortunately. And it's just something that always stayed with me. I can remember, I think it was Ardiles crossed for Garth Crooks to score the first. And I just remember that whole side of the stand that Spurs had going up in unison. And it wasn't our day. It's a bit harsh to say we didn't turn up. Steve would have a better opinion of that, I guess. But from a Leicester fan, I think we got pretty much outplayed on that day. And it was I think I've mentioned this before, one of the best performances by an individual I've ever seen. I thought Glenn Hoddle was fantastic on that day, and we didn't seem to get anywhere near him. But yeah, you know, we were still in it till towards the end, and the unfortunate own goal. But it was a great occasion. It's just sad that we fell at the final hurdle.
Yeah, a couple of hellos here. And Miss Melina enjoys me editing, if nobody else does. Good evening, Melina. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on Arsenal doing what we couldn't last night and shoving things back in the face of Slavia Prague. Well done there on that one. Can't say they didn't deserve it. Andy says, I don't think we're going to have a better chance of reaching the finals this time. I would possibly agree with you on that. We will come on to that in a second. Stefan, hi boys, how are you? That's our erstwhile Aston Villa fan. Good evening, Stefan. Like I said the other day, we're talking FA Cup semi-finals. One day, Stefan, one day, that could be you. And Andy very kindly says here, you have the face for radio, Chris. Well, thank you, Andy. I love you too. That's you off my Christmas card list. I was actually talking to the Saints fan on the Opposition View show last night, and one of his co-colleagues came on and trying to claim that he was the eye candy for their channel. We've got our own eye candy this evening. Steve, I'll come to you about this. Our eye candy, being the ex-player. What was this? I mean, Gary Lineker was saying nothing went right for you that day. You had an own goal. You know, Tommy Williams unfortunately broke his leg. And there was a cock on the pitch, was there?
Yeah, they had a cock run with the Tottenham colours around, and that was running around for
other than the 11 Tottenham players, there was an extra cock on the pitch, but
he wouldn't have been a fox. I know that.
we could have done it. I mean, that was so long ago. I mean, you know, you very kindly donated that the signed program. I mean, do you think people will notice if I pull my own name out? I have a feeling they just might do. And it just seemed a long time ago. Explain what you were doing, because I think you've done something with the club, haven't you, for the semi-final?
Oh, just a little piece of Central News that was on tonight. And,
yeah. Central News, that was it. Sorry, but you're on the website as well, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know. I've not been on there, to be honest, yet, so I'll have to have a look.
Oh, I thought I could be wrong. I thought I saw that you'd or they've written about you anyway on the website. You obviously don't. If you don't know about that, they might have written it without you knowing.
But they memorabilia, and
they've probably got a lot of juicy bits that you can claim you didn't say. But it seems a long time, Craig, doesn't it? I mean. This is overdue, isn't it?
It's got to be. I mean, for any Leicester City fan waiting for an FA Cup win, it's a test of endurance, isn't it? You know, from going all the way back to that Wolves one. You know, I'm sure there's still a few Foxes fans who have been around and seen them all. But you know, in my time, you know, I was born. I know you probably won't believe this, Chris, but I was born for the 69 Cup final, but I was too young to know what was really going on. So the closest I got was that semi-final that Steve played in, and we've been starved of success ever since. So I've got high hopes for this one, and hopefully they won't let us down.
I was hoping that I'd got the right shirt on for that game, but I think this was the shirt that came after the season after that. Steve, I mean, you know, as I say, going back to that, and I mean, we did touch on this on Tuesday, but how did Jock have you preparing for the game?
He done it in just like every other game, you know. You didn't have much tactics in those days. You didn't have the formations. You didn't have the technology that they got now. But it was a case of, you know, you've got to go out there, boys. You've got to play like you've done before. You've got to hustle them. But, you know, it was a bigger pitch. It was spread out. You know, we couldn't get close to them, to be honest, for a bit.
Do you think, And I'll stick with you for this one, if I can, Steve. I mean, it's going to be a big pitch tomorrow. Do you think that will suit Leicester's style of play more?
I think so. I think it will do. You've got I think because it's so big, you won't get caught out, or you shouldn't get caught out with balls through the back four. But I think vice versa, you've got Vardy, who likes the space. If they play to his strengths, because he is due a goal, and I think he'll come up with a couple tomorrow. I think this game will suit him. But I just hope that the Leicester that played Manchester United, turn up tomorrow on Sunday.
Don't we all? Yeah, not the Leicester that played Brighton. I can't be doing with another 94th minute winner. I mean, Craig, I was speaking to, as I last night, to the Southampton fan, and I managed to do the whole show without mentioning any 9-0 results, which I was quite pleased with myself. The thing is, we, I suppose, as fans, when you're looking at it with ourselves, we knew who was through apart from ourselves at that point, but there was us, Southampton, Chelsea, Man City. And I always sort of err away from sort of and always say be careful what you wish for, following the Wycombe Wanderers debacle. But we wanted Southampton. But when I spoke to him, I said, as Southampton fans, were you sat there thinking, please get Leicester, please get Leicester? And apparently they were. They wanted us as much as we wanted them.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, you want to avoid Man City, and then I wouldn't have been overly worried about Chelsea, I don't think, but definitely Southampton with the plum draw, and as you say, no surprise that they wanted us as well to avoid the other two so-called bigger clubs. I think both of us will go into the game thinking we've got a chance in this one. The thing is, I mean, we talk about we never know which Leicester's going to turn up. I think it's even more so of Southampton. They've had some fantastic performances and had some shockers as well. I mean, I didn't see the game. Apparently, against West Brom the other night, they were awful. I mean, the only team that's had, back-to-back season 9-0s. It's bizarre because I think he's a really good manager. He's got some really good players, but sometimes, when something goes wrong for them in a game, they don't tend to be able to deal with it. Now, that happened in both of the 9-0s against us and the other one. They had a man sent off and just couldn't deal with it. So you do worry about their mental strength, I think. So I think if we can get on top and get an early goal, I think that would be really important for us.
Steve, the Mike, who was the Southampton fan from at Match Vlogs on Twitter, it's not easy for me to say. I mean, he was actually. I saw a little rant from the show because they did a live watch along, and you'd have to. The bleeper was in full use, shall we say? But he was saying that the problem that Southampton have got is that they are fixed in their ways. Hussenthal, and if I've pronounced that name right, Ralph, we'll call him Ralph for ease, is very much goes in to a match with a plan A, and that's it. So like Craig said, you lose a player, you plan A, you've got to change it. He seems unable to do that. Brendan, he's a bit of a master at being able to change, things mid-game, isn't he?
He is, but then you've got to look at Southampton. When they do play to their plan A and they get it right, which they did halfway when they went on that good run, they were getting result after result after result by playing the same way. Now, if Leicester allow them to start off and do well in their plan A, then Southampton will, they'll grow with confidence and they'll get stronger and stronger. So hopefully the first 10 minutes and the way Leicester are and turn the tables round, that the quicker his plan A goes out the window.
I'd forgotten at one point, Craig, Southampton were actually top of the league. I think it was that weird weekend when I think there was 4 or 5 teams, us included, and it was the same weekend Tottenham were top of the league, And as I'm looking at the season here, they started off with a couple of losses. Like Steve's just said, they went on a good run of 6 games without losing. They were up to third, first. They ended up third that weekend, and yet they've now gone down to 14th. It is a thing about staying power with them, isn't it?
It is. It's strange because they lost Ings for a few games, I think, but not to the same extent that we lost players. I think Vestergaard was missing for a while during that period, and he'd been pretty solid for them because they do like that back three, and he's been central to that. But apart from that, I don't think they lost lots and lots of players like we did, in key areas. But it seems like as soon as they lose one of their key players, everything else shuffles around, and they lose that fluidity that they've got. Because when they're all fit and they're all playing well, they are a very dangerous team. And I think even at the age he is, I think he's 28 or whatever now, I would take Danny Ings in a heartbeat, to be honest, because I think he's one of the best strikers in the Premier League at converting his chances. So there's always going to be a danger there, and that's why I think it's really important that we impose ourselves on the game from the off.
Craig, I'll stick with you with this one if I can, because I read somewhere early on in the week that Danny Ings was out because he tested positive for COVID, but I haven't seen anything since. So I presume that good news, I think it was the Leicester Mercury reported it, that good news isn't still good news, and he's back.
He wasn't at a party last weekend, was he, by any chance?
Hey, I just hope you remembered the party when you picked your team this week.
I know. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Danny being out, to be honest. Yeah, it would be a great bonus for us, but I haven't heard anything.
No. Steve, going into a game like this, semi-final, it's a break from the league. Does league form mean anything going in? I mean, we had the horrendous game for various different reasons last weekend. We know those. We've gone over those. I was so happy when I saw Southampton had lost to West Bromwich Albion, because I think with them, had they won, and you would have thought normally it would have been the score way the other way round, and it would have been 3-0 to Southampton. But they had a horrendous game. And that, to me, I'm thinking, well, they haven't got that psychological advantage. Does it mean anything, though, on when you come to a semi-final, what you've done in the league for the past few games?
No, it all boils down to who wants to get through to the final. I think danger is both teams have got to put in a performance because of what they've had. And I think they'll be more inclined to put their form back up to where they were at the beginning of the season, because I think Leicester have been consistent. You had a blip against West Ham, but like Brendan Rodgers, he can put it right, hopefully. Yeah. But I think more of a danger for Leicester because Southampton will want to now get back into it, and I think the danger man I feel for who Leicester go Walker, because the last few games he's been playing really, really well.
You're breaking up a little bit, Steve, but I get what you're saying about Theo Walcott. Funnily enough, the Saints fans that I was talking, because they did a show afterwards, and I was watching that, and they're not Theo's biggest fans. They think they've got a better chance of beating us if Theo doesn't play.
I think that's down to personal choice, and I think the way they look at the game. But like a couple of years ago that Theo Walcott was finished, but now the game of him this year, you can see a lot of how he used to be before coming back to his game, just like Lingard from Man United.
Yeah. Yes. I'm going to just say thank you here, because I do wind him up a little bit, Stefan. But he's saying good luck for the Southampton versus Leicester City. Thank you, Stefan. You know it's only banter. Craig, we've got a guy on form up the front, so much so that Miss Molina, I've said to you, she's an Arsenal fan, but she's actually stuck Inacho in her fantasy team this week. She's got him in. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or whether that's going to mean like he'll suddenly, like Steve with his football predictions, is it going to have the opposite effect of him doing well? But, he is they're saying in the paper, he's come out the shadows. This is his time. And, you just think every time he gets the ball, he could possibly, score.
Well, he's clearly playing with confidence. I mean, even in the West Ham game, he was shooting from everywhere, I think. And at the minute, that left foot is banging him in. He's definitely a confidence player. We've said this all along. He needed a run of games, and it was nice. I really enjoyed the second goal, to be honest, because he anticipated that really well, and that's what you want from a striker. It's all very well, the nice finishes and banging them in from outside the box, but when you're in the box, it's very easy, the way that ball came across, for him to take his eye off it or to just think a defender was going to clear it, but he didn't. He was anticipating what might happen, and he stuck it away really well. So he's at the top of his game at the minute, and the fact that Jamie is providing a really good foil for him. He's not scoring, but as we've said before, Jamie makes a lot of intelligent runs to take players away, which is helping Iheanacho. So I think the two of them against their back three, will occupy those three and create space down the flanks for us as well. So Iheanacho's doing great, and long may it continue.
Steve, we've kind of stumbled onto this formation, but I don't care, to be honest with you. It's working well, as Craig just said. It's. I just have a feeling that if things aren't going quite our way, that the player that Brendan will sacrifice, as he did in a recent game, is Kelechi Iheanacho, and he leaves Jamie Vardy on. But Kelechi Iheanacho is the informed player, isn't he?
The thing you've got to watch is where you play most of the game on the pitch. If you're starting slow from the back, Iheanacho is not going to be much of a threat, because you'll get to read the players because you've got time to watch the runs and whatever. But if playing higher up and playing him where he's a threat outside the box and in the box, you'll get the best out of him. But if you watch him, unless they get pushed back and they get stretched, he's not a kind of player, I think, like Vardy, that can make things happen that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah. No, I know what you're coming. Scott's just... Sorry, carry on, Steve.
Vardy's got the pace to create something where it has to be in the area where the players, I feel, to get the best out of him.
Andy's just said, and we'll come on to this later, Andy, because Craig's going to pick his team for us in a bit, as a party news allowing. Scott is asking here, Danny Ward's just signed a new contract. Do you think Brendan will play him on a Sunday? I mean, that's bless him. He's done well for us, but that's 100% no, isn't it, Craig?
Without giving any spoilers away to the team, no. To be honest, it took me by surprise that he'd got a 4-year contract, because there's been a lot of talk about how well Everson's been doing. Every time he's been on loan, he's come back and he's got plaudits. He must be thinking that maybe, he's going to have to move on, because you've basically just said your pathway to the first team is blocked for another 4 years. So I don't know, Steve would have a better idea of how other players react to that when they see people in front of them getting offered longer contracts. Do you just put your head down and play through it and hope that your chance comes, or do you think, well, actually, at some point I've got to move on? We're already being linked with another young keeper, I think, from Hartlepool. Yeah, so I don't know. I was surprised it was a 4-year one, I must admit, but I can't see him playing at the weekend. No.
Do you think we're going to play 4 in goal at this rate, Steve?
I don't. I think, me personally, you've got to play against Manchester. I don't think you need to change that. I think you have to tread careful, like Craig's just said about squad players and that, and people getting contracts and things like that. I think you could open a can of worms there. So I think Brendan has to be very careful now how he things.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at how we both got here. Well, not us, but I mean the football teams. And I'll just bring it up here. It would be nice. I did actually just post somebody, a Leicester fan, has got a ticket, so there will be at least one Leicester fan there. Well, I presume he lives down there. But the worrying thing here, and again, I'll come to you with this one, Steve. Southampton haven't conceded a goal in the FA Cup this season. They got Shrewsbury Town, as they admitted, probably their easiest game, 2-0. They managed to beat Arsenal, which was a good result. Wolves, again, another tight game, and they had the South Coast derby against Bournemouth, which probably looking at it wasn't the hardest game. But, they haven't scored, they haven't conceded a goal. Should Leicester worry about that? Or, with Nacho on fire, should we not worry?
I don't think so, because if you look at the earlier rounds, you got to look at the teams they've played and did full strength teams, and were they bothered so much about the FA Cup? Were they worried things further on down the line? But I think it still comes down to you forget everything that's gone on before. It's not going to help you, So you're just concentrating on this one game. The prize is the end of the game. You should be strong enough, fit enough, and wanted enough to get through. And then you go into the game with that belief. But then on the pitch, things might, which you've got no control over. So it's then how Brendan gets them to adapt and change.
Yeah.
But, I don't think any further results that happened before or how they got there should have anything to do with the game on Sunday.
Yes. Craig, our journey, we were 2 at home, 2 away. We've only conceded ourselves 2 goals, so it's not a drastic change. And we played, a couple of championship clubs there. We the immediately forgettable 1-0 win over Brighton, and of course the superb game against Man United. We need the Leicester that played Man United to turn up, not the Leicester that played Brighton, as Craig said earlier.
Yeah, I think and I know how Leicester fans feel. If their tables were turned there and we'd not conceded a goal, all our Leicester fans would be saying, "Well, there's no way you're going to reach a final without conceding a goal." So, because we're essential pessimists, aren't we?
Yes.
And I think the same is true. I think it'd be very unusual for any team to get to the final without conceding a goal. So for me, that stands us in good stead. But yeah, as Steve alluded to, you want the team who played Man U to turn up, and that game could have gone either way. To be honest, we made the most of the opportunities when we were on top, and as everyone says the same. When you're on top, you need to score, and we managed to score at the right times during that game. And we've got to do the same against Southampton. We've got to take our chances when they come along.
Just looking at some Optus Stats here, we played Southampton twice in the FA Cup, which have I got that? I have got the graphic here. First FA Cup game between us, and Craig will probably remember this, was 1898. And it was Leicester Foss, and I love that name. And we lost 2-1. The last one was January 2008, which I just about remember, Southampton. And again, we lost 2-0. So we haven't got a great record. We've played them 7 times in the FA Cup. We've won 3, lost 3, drawn 1. Let's hope we can tip that balance over. We haven't beaten Southampton in the same season twice since 2011-12. And this is our 8th FA Cup semi-final. There's all the other ones, Steve. Again, you probably don't remember the earlier ones like Craig does, but Portsmouth was our first one. We lost 4-1. We'll beat Portsmouth in 49. Beat Sheffield United after 2 replays in 61. That was a superb year in 61. I've got to be honest with you. Fantastic year, 1961. Leicester City, we beat Liverpool in 63. unfortunately, I've got to say this, Stephen, don't hate me, please. We beat West Brom, yay, in 69, and of course Liverpool and the Tottenham one. You can read too much into stats, though, can't you?
I'm not a firm believer in stats, to be honest. As you can by predictions and things like that, but I think people do get carried away now with the stats. You know, I get many people saying, "Oh, we had 80-odd possession of the game, and that we had 300 passes and whatever," but we lost 0.
Yes.
You know, to me, I'd rather just say we won 1-0. We didn't hardly touch the ball. We played crap, but we got the result. So hopefully,
It is all about the result at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, you know, we proved with the championship winning side, Craig. Stats mean nothing. You know, virtually every game we had minimal possession, but we won the league. Just checking it, having won 2 of their first 3 FA Cup semi-final ties between 1898, again, you were there, and 1902. Southampton have progressed from just 2 of their subsequent 9 such matches. We're so evenly balanced. It's scary, isn't it?
We are, to be honest, we are, but you know, the table would suggest that overall we're a better team, and if we both play to our standards, we should win, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Can you play to your full potential? If both teams do, we should come out on top. You know, they've got to play really well, and we've got to be off the pace, I think. And you would much rather be in a position like that going into a semi-final, that's for sure. I remember, you know, when you look at that in the modern era, let's take out the you're quite right, Andy, you say that. In the modern era,
it's just revenge,
you've got to look at,
just revenge.
Yeah. In the modern era, every time we've got into a semi-final where we've drawn, let's say, the favourites or the bigger team, we've lost. We drew West Brom in 69 and we got through to the final. I would suggest that if you want to look at stats, every time we've drawn a team higher than us in the table, we've probably got beaten in a semi-final, and every time we've picked a team lower, we've gone through. So that's the stat I'll be looking at, Chris. And I know you always say, you know, we've got lots of stats and they don't mean anything, but that doesn't stop you trolling them out.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm just looking down all these Optus Stats here, which seem to go on forever, and I'm trying to I'm grasping them at straws here to find one that apparently Leicester have lost all 3 of their matches at the new Wembley Stadium. Great, hello, that's... but these things have got to be broken. Steve, though, as you said earlier, Jamie Vardy has scored in all 3 of his appearances at Wembley Stadium for Leicester, and the striker responsible for the Foxes' 6 goals at the ground. We keep saying every week, this is the game where Jamie's going to break his duck. You know, and he's been on these runs before, and strikers do, and it happens. It's just noticeable with a striker when they're not banging the goals in. But we need him just to sort of, if it goes in off his back, you know, if he farts and it goes in off his backside, I don't care as long as it goes in. But he's due a goal, isn't he?
Yeah, you go back to the days when I played, and you know, you got Gary Lineker. Now, from the early days with Gary Lineker would have 8-9 chances, miss 8, and score 1. So I think the time to worry is when Jamie Vardy doesn't get any chances, because he's had chances in the game which just didn't go in. So I think it would be then if Jamie Vardy didn't have any chances, but he's getting in the positions. He's had his chances. They haven't gone in, but you know that's the law of averages. You know, you'll take that many punches before you land one back, and I think Jamie Vardy will land one back with a vengeance.
As long as if he's not scoring, as long as he's setting up for a Nacho, we can live with that, can't we? We can live with that, guys.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, carry on, Steve.
A different Jamie Vardy since the other guys' good run, Nacho. Because Jamie Vardy now is passing more in front of goal than he used to. He was like Harry Kane. He'd get the ball, he'd shoot straight away. He always looked to go for goal. But the last few games I've noticed now with Jamie Vardy, he's starting to look for other players. Now, that could be his downfall, to be honest. It could be where he's not getting it. But as a team player, he's starting to put other people in now, and you got to pat him on the back for that.
And also, Craig, of course, he's on just being on the pitch. If he's running at the goal, he's going to take players with him, defenders with him, leaving other players, Nacho, etc., free to have a shot.
He does, he does a lot of great running off the ball. And I think you touched on a game earlier, a couple of weeks ago, where it was Kelechi who was taken off. And I think it's for that very reason that that if Jamie's still on the pitch, the opposition can't push up the pitch as far as they would. So it leaves more room for our better players. So if you left Kelechi on and took Jamie off, I think the opposition would be much more comfortable at pushing on and squeezing the game. But they can't do that when Jamie's on. So even if he's not on his game, he's got such a reputation that it means that the opposition defences have to take him into account.
I think we can see from the comments there what we have gauged over these past few weeks, that Steve knows what he's talking about a lot more than me and Craig from people's comments. Look, it's going to be that time. We're going to have a look and see if Craig knows if anybody's been to a party, or if not, if they deserve a place in the team. I'm just going to remind you of the competition, then we'll come back and we'll look at that team. So here we go. We're back in a sec.
Stay tuned, as it's competition time from Leicester Till I Die TV, and it's your chance to win.
It is your chance to win, and tonight you can win a copy of the 1982 semi-final programme. Leicester playing Tottenham Hotspur. Not the great results, but Steve Lynitz was in the Leicester team then. He's still got a copy. He's going to sign that and he'll send it out to the winner. All we need you to do is to be subscribed to the channel. You must be subscribed to the channel to take part, and tell us who was the sub that day. Comment in the comments, and what we'll do is we'll be having a look at that come the pre-match show on Sunday, and we'll pick a winner. But you must be subscribed and tell us, I say, in the comments who the sub was that day. Oh, those are the days, Craig and Steve. One substitute each. What? Now the subs, there's almost a full team on the subs bench, isn't there?
But I think back in the day, then I think it was more exciting.
You didn't have the choice, did you? If you're going to make a sub for tactical reasons, you had to get it spot on, And do you pick a defender, a midfielder, a striker? These managers have got it easy these days, haven't they, Steve?
Oh, I believe so. Yeah, I think they do. But I'm going to go back to the Man United game, and I keep on about it. But I don't know if you guys felt the same as me, but I felt that every Leicester City player on that day, I felt that they were going to score. They looked like it would have been anybody on the pitch looked a threat, and I think that's how you want to be at Southampton.
It is, and I think we've seen this year again. I mean, with Jamie not scoring, the goals have been evenly more spread this season. Craig, you got Harvey Barnes, James Maddison. I know, they've been out recently. Inacho now, but it's good that, and it's nice because you can see. I mean, you had a feeling at the start, for example, of the West Ham game. We didn't start playing till the 70th minute. But like you say, when you're looking at the Man United game, we were up for it from the start.
We were, we went out with the right attitude, and whatever we say about who was left out of that West Ham game, it still must have had an effect on the rest of the team. There was a lot of negative press around at the time. Training had been disrupted. You're training with players week in, week out, and then all of a sudden, you've got to go with different players and a different formation. It must have had an effect, and that does weigh on you a little bit. And as soon as things go against you, as they did sort of fairly early on, it's difficult to pull back. But the flip side of that is that we did have a bit of a mental strength, some resilience. Brendan could see what was wrong, and at half time made some little tweaks. And we could have easily got a point out of that game. So the days where, we can't come back from games if things don't go well, I seem to be well behind it. This is a much tougher team, So, I think they've got the mental resilience, and there's some players there, Vardy, Schmeichel, who, are probably not going to get this close to an FA Cup final again. So I would imagine that Vardy is going to be fired up to try and make a statement in this game and get himself to a cup final.
Terry says there, good evening, Terry. One sub and no VAR, happy days. I got to be honest with you, I was on YouTube earlier and it was showing it was a clip, and I think it was 2, and it was the worst VAR decisions of the season. And my God, when you put them all together, are they bad? And just to say, we do have a bit of a love affair, I think, going on here between Stefan and Miss Melina. I think you two guys need to get a room, but good luck to you both. And as long as I get an invite to the wedding, and I'll be quite happy. Leicester till I die dating.com. That's what we need to bring in. Right. Steve said earlier, it's easier being a manager these days. Let's see if that is true. Craig again has gone for a formation that doesn't exist on any of the things. So I can't pull the team up as we go through it. So what I'm going to have to do is just put the team up there, and then you can talk us through it, Craig. So there is the team, as they say. Like you said, there's nothing you gave away earlier, and Steve can sort of let us know whether he agrees with this or not. Schmeichel in goal, obviously. I mean, that was like I say, the world's worst kept secret, probably, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's difficult to when you put teams out there and you're trying to show where their positions may be. We know that playing with the wing backs, they're going to start deep and exploit the space in front, and that's why I've gone for a fairly, Chris, I've gone for a fairly, you could say narrow midfield and strike force, because I'm expecting the width to come from the two wing backs, with us having a very strong, possibly the strongest back three that we've got there. And I'm not a hugest fan of a back three, but it seems that Brendan is. So I think having everyone available, I think he's going to go with that Soyuncu, Evans, and Fofana back three. The difference comes here with the two wing backs, and I base this basically on some things that Brendan's come out and said this week, mainly about Castagna, where he thinks that playing him on the left-hand side has sort of spoiled his natural tendencies to get forward, that he doesn't seem as comfortable getting forward on the left-hand side as he does on the right. And I think that's been pretty obvious in the last few games. Castagna's not really been the threat that we've seen from him in the past. So it came down to a choice of was it Castagna or Ricardo on the right-hand side. And I've just gone for Ricardo because I think he's a little bit more direct and aggressive. And Thomas did himself no harm again when he came on. And I think when he's allowed to go forward, I think he does a really good job, and he's got more of a natural delivery from his left foot into the striker. So that's why I've gone for those as the wing back pairing.
No Castagna at all, though. You've dropped him totally for Thomas.
Yeah, but for those reasons, as I say, if his threat is lessened by playing down on the left, then if you've got someone who can deliver the ball better, which we have a natural left footer with Thomas, then I think Wembley's a big pitch, and I know he's a youngster, and it may be a big occasion for him. But every time he's been brought into a big game, he's not let anybody down, Thomas. So I think there'll be a lot of space for him to get forward to, and his delivery is pretty good, to be fair, off that left foot. Whereas you've got Castagna, who is always looking to cut in on his right. So unfortunately for this one, you can go down these routes where you just want players and they're the best players, so you try and force them in somewhere. But I don't think that's always the best route, So sometimes you've got to play the best player in the best position. And on this occasion, it means Castagna misses out and takes a place on the bench.
Soyuncu straight back in.
Yeah, I think he's solid, isn't he, Soyuncu? You know what you're going to get from him. And I think sometimes, as Steve alluded to, you've got Theo Walcott who comes in down that right-hand side. I don't think he's going to fancy meeting Soyuncu coming the other way, to be honest. So I think a few early challenges there may curtail Walcott's runs, I think. And they sometimes play with that two up front as well, with Ings and Shea Adams as well. So I think you need that solidity that Soyuncu gives you, and I think he'll be dying to get back on the pitch after being forced to miss the last couple of games.
So, Steve, so far, what do you think? The formation, which is the three at the back, turning into a five, obviously, when we're defending, or a three when we're going forward. Fofana, Evans, Schmeichel with Thomas and Ricardo as wing backs.
To be honest, I'm not really a big fan of wing backs on a big pitch like this, because it all depends where your wing backs are going to be the most dangerous. Because if you're playing too far back on a big pitch, it's a long run to get forward. And to be fair with the modern I see it at the moment, that teams are getting in positions to run at people wide or cross the ball wide, but then they'll stop, they'll play it square, they'll play it back. So for me, the general play of the modern game is always played in. So you can adjust, you've got time to adjust, you can move your tactics, but I'd like to see teams more getting behind teams and running at players, because your wing backs are going to be no good if they're doing it from just inside their own half or towards the on a big. And I think then you might come into where you're going to get really stretched, and Southampton will come through the gaps.
Yeah, Stefan. By the way, I was only joking, but I think you're thinking of something in the garden, because you say not a weeding. But I don't know if you're going to get your rubber gloves on and go out and do a bit of digging. Indeedy, Craig. Yes, indeedy. He's got to be in there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's probably the best in the division in that position for me. I think he's. You would say that the only area that he can probably improve on is his shooting. It's not the best, to be honest, but that's not what he's there for. He's there to break up the play and provide that extra defensive cover, particularly when the wing backs have gone. I think it allows the two wider centre halves to cover around wide when and indeed he sits in front. But I take on board Steve's comments. I think if you've got particularly on a big pitch, if you're playing with the back four and you're asking your fullbacks to get forward as well, because their natural instincts are to get forward, then they have got more space to cover. Actually, I think if they're playing from particularly right and left back positions, because I think we're blessed with fullbacks, wing backs who want to get forward. So I think if you had more defensively minded ones, then I think on a big pitch, I can see it. But I think it takes a little bit away from Thomas, but particularly Ricardo, if you're asking him to start from a further back position. But yeah, I mean, you've played in more bigger games than I have, Steve. That's for sure. If you've played in one, you've played in more bigger games than me. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting how Brendan goes. I just think that he likes the three at the moment. He seems to be set in his ways of playing the three.
I think the three will be work fine if you're pressing in front, and I think Brendan has to go out with mentality, like you've both said again tonight. You need to be in their faces, in their half, straight from the off, which will dictate your system and how you play. I think if you do a slow from the back, team that does the back, and you do get and what you need, or what we used to try for, is get a player on one-on-one. So then once you have gone past him, then someone else has to come towards you, which then creates another space. But the slow build-up play, you're always looking at a bank of 4 and a bank of 5 that you're playing against, and you never seem to get past them or through them. You have to go across. And I think the only game, going back to it, is the Man United game. I felt that Leicester attacked from every position. Every player made forward runs, and everybody looked like on the pitch that they could score at any time. And I just hope that they can be the same again on Saturday, because I think you try and depend on the same people scoring the goals. And I want to see it on Sunday where any one of the Leicester players is a threat.
That would be nice. They just get some goals. That would be lovely. Tillemans again goes without saying. Brendan said in his press conference, Craig, backing up what you've done here, Leicester players dropped for COVID-19 breach can make amends on the pitch. And with that in mind, you've brought Maddison back into the fold from the get-go.
I have. I think there's a couple of reasons. I think on this pitch, it's a big pitch on this stage. Maddison's a big game player for me. He likes that stage. And I would imagine he's going to be hurt as well from everything that's been said about him. He'll probably, be sulking a little bit during this week in terms of, thinking what he did wasn't that bad. He's been, treated unfairly, whatever. But he's got the perfect stage to actually show everybody what he can do, And I think bringing him off the bench, if you're bringing him off the bench to turn a game, then there's a lot more pressure on him. I think if you're bringing him on when the game's already won, then he's not had an impact on it. For me, this is you start him and you go out there and you tell him to show everybody who's watching what he can actually do when he's on the football pitch. I think it's a perfect stage for him.
Indeed. And my worry a little bit there is, will he be trying too hard? I mean, if this is possible, Steve, as an ex-player, sometimes you go out and you're trying too hard to be good. You've had a bad couple of games, let's say, and you want to go out, you've got a point to prove. And will he make that pass through to Vardy or Inacho when they're on goal, or will he try and score himself because he wants to, like I say, make that point? What do you think?
I think it could, like Craig said, I think it could go one of two ways. I think I'm on the pitch thinking, I've got a point to prove, and then the point will be, okay, I did make a mistake. I am the player I need to play. Or it could be which some players do get, modern times and our time, is that they do start to get a bit too big for the club, and it's a case of, I don't give a damn anyhow, I can go somewhere else because there's interest from other places. So the character of the player, you should always see the next game he comes in to prove the right point, which is, okay, I cocked up, but I deserve to be in the team and I am going to make Leicester City tick. And I think if he does that, I think everything will be forgotten.
Yeah.
I don't be forgotten because of you have these laws, you have these rules, and you have to stamp your authority on it, or you have no control at all. But I think if he goes out with that temperament, said, right, I'm going to prove to you what a player I am, then the only thing that's going to be not Maddison, it's going to be less.
I did see, Craig, I messaged this to you earlier. I didn't see, in fact, so somebody sent me a text, and you know what rumours are like, that Maddison has put a transfer request in. I mean, I actually think that is a load of the old proverbial cow poo, to be honest with you. And that's no disrespect to the guy that actually messaged me. Great guy, and I think he's obviously picked up on it somewhere. I don't think he'd gain anything, would he, if he moved now?
I don't think so. He's in a good place. He's, but we know Brendan's a bit of a father figure to a lot of these guys. I know Fofana has come out and said that in the past week, that it's like having his dad there. I think Maddison's in the best place to learn, and this is part of his learning. You know, he is fairly young. I know we shouldn't really make excuses for it, but he's a bit of a cocky kid, isn't he? You know, and sometimes, you know, you need that father figure, you know, in very much the same way that Alex Ferguson was with a lot of his young players. You know, they could have gone the wrong way, but they had the right manager at the right time to bring the best out of them. And I think Brendan will put him in because he'll want to see how Maddison reacts. You know, he'll want to see Maddison show that he is an integral part of this football team, and he's got a player who it's worth persevering with, even if he's having these problems with him. Because the worst thing is, if somebody's giving you trouble off the pitch and they're not performing on it, there's no point in keeping them. So this is Maddison's stage to, you know, if he wanted to push for a move, there's no better stage than Wembley. But also there's no better stage for him to prove to Brendan that he deserves to be in this team.
Yeah. Here we go. Never bite the hand that feeds you, Andy. That's true. Scott, again, I haven't heard this, but apparently Man United have had talks in regards to Fofana. I doubt we don't need to sell these days, and I think you'd be paying more for Fofana than they paid for Harry Maguire, and I think they've been burnt a bit with the, not that he's not particularly, you know, playing well, but he's just it's the amount of money that they paid for, and I think we'd be asking a lot more for Fofana. Facebook user here apparently saying about Madders being on the golf course, but apparently according to the golf course, it was the morning. Well, we weren't playing till the afternoon, and he only played 9 holes. And if that is the case, personally, I don't have a problem because it's his personal time when we're not playing, and he's gone back to watch the guys on the TV. You know, fine, you know, if that morning's his. My worry with your team there, Craig, and we're taking Nacho and Vardy at the moment as a given. I'm kind of, unfortunately, I disagree with Steve. Go with you. I'm quite a lover of wing backs at the moment. So I was surprised with the lack of Castagna, but I'm just checking. You allowed 5 subs in FA Cup games this year. So, you know, he can see if Thomas is feeling, you know, if he's not playing to his best, he can always bring Castagna on purely, can he not, Steve, as that older head. And he might lose something by putting him on the left, but he's got the experience that maybe, you know, Luke Thomas hasn't.
I think you go back to what Craig says. I think when you start playing players out of position, I think you're weakening your team because you're not getting out the best, him especially, and the people around him, because they won't be expecting the moves that he does on the left that he would be doing on the right. So, you know, you're slowing your thinking time down because, you know, you get a lot of who get the ball and, you know, you're watching to see what they do with it. And then, you know, make sure half a second slow, you're not reacting there, you're quick. Now, I'm a big fan of Mark Albrighton because I know as soon as the guy gets the ball wide, he's looking to whip it in straight away. So, you know, straight away then, you look at the players that thinking, as soon as the ball's going out to Albrighton, I'm going to start making my box because they know he's not going to mess about with the ball, he's not going to cut it back, he's just all in. And I think if you can get that happening on the pitch all over, that's where you create your space, that's where you create your threats, because I don't want Leicester to be a dimensional team where you've only got one, you know, and you start to read the threats.
Yeah. I mean, Craig, Mark Albrighton, I think this season, I mean, he's played well, you know, he's done what has been asked of him, and you know he can't ask more than that. But he seems to have more of an impact coming on as a sub than when he started games, you know, from the get go.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can either you can bring him on to do one of two things. You can bring him on to offset running and just getting balls into the box, or he's got that experience as well of he knows how to use the ball, how to keep the ball, what areas to take up in that. And on a big pitch, I think asking him to start would be a bit much, to be honest. I think he's much more useful coming off the bench, depending on how the game's going. I think you can have much more of an impact as a 20-minute sub rather than being on from the start.
Yeah. Like I say, my only disagreement, it's not often I agree with you, Craig, and I'm therefore not going to tonight. So like I say, the team I get, I would have, because Castagna, it's not that he's not used to playing on the left. He's not being, in a way, played out to, although right is his strength, he has played for, previous teams, Atlanta, he's played for the national team on that position, so he can play in that position. But like you say, like I said, you've got 5 subs, so that can, it's not just the 3. If Thomas struggles, it is one of the options there. But guys, we've been going just over the hour now, so I didn't know I could last this long. we're back to the carry-on football innuendos, aren't we? But I've gone for 2-1. I'm dreading asking Steve. I think I'm going to hide under the table at this point. I think it will be tight. I think, unfortunately, Leicester have, although Soyuncu's back, we do seem to have the habit of being able to concede a goal. But I'm going for a 2-1 to Leicester. Let me come to Steve first and always get the bad one out the way. Let's see what you're going for, Steve. This is your time to shine.
My time to shine, and I think Sunday is going to be a Vardy day. And I think Vardy's going to come back with a vengeance, and Leicester are going to win 2-0.
2-0. That would be good. That would be good. TM there agrees with me 2-1. Craig, are you going to agree with me?
No, of course not. It was silly.
No, I didn't think you would.
No. I've got a feeling it's going to be an open game, to be honest. And I'm going to go for a very enjoyable 4-2.
Oh God, no, I couldn't survive. Remember, I've got a bad heart. I couldn't survive through 4-2. That would do my head in. That said, none of you think it will go to extra time and penalties then?
I'm hoping it's not.
No.
No.
I don't think it would do the team that played Man United turn up, but I think it would do if against Brighton turn up.
That is the thing. And the funny thing is, like I say, we are saying that, and Southampton are saying that about their team as well. It's we're all in the same boat. Steve, just show us the programme again.
That programme has been in a place since the cup final, and it is in prestige condition. So that will be signed and sent to whoever guesses who the substitute was.
I'll have to enter under a pseudonym or something. That's the thing. So yeah, all you've got to do, remember, guys, is if you want to win a copy of that 1982 program from the semi-final, couldn't think of the word then, when we played Tottenham and Steve was in the team. Just make sure you are subbed to the channel. You must be subbed to the channel to be in, and just comment. You can still comment after the show's finished about who was a substitute on that day. 5 substitutes at the moment. You're only allowed 1 back in them days. And as somebody said earlier, no VAR either. Craig, thank you very much, mate, as always.
Welcome.
The wise old sage, as he is called. I think you should sign in as that. I really do.
Yeah,
I'm just old. I'm neither wise or a sage. And Steve, like I say, Steve is just the eye candy. So, guys, thank you very much, both of you. Stay safe, and let's hope we're talking next week with huge, big smiles on our face. And we're off to Wembley when hopefully, as well, the fans will be back. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Yes, thank you. Good night.
Cheers. Bye, everyone. Cheers.
So thanks to Craig, thanks to Steve. What a great prize. Surely you want to win it, don't you? Surely.
Stay tuned, as it's competition time from Leicester Till I Die TV, and it's your chance to win.
It is your chance to win. You just heard. Sub to the channel. You must be. I can't say that after. You must be sub to the channel, and you've got to stay subbed because when we pull it out on Sunday, when we pick the winner, that person has still got to be subbed. So don't sub, enter, and then unsub because you won't be subbed when we go to pick. We look back at this and pick the winner. Make sure you're subbed to the channel Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. It's very easy. Just click that subscribe button and then tell us who was the named substitute, just the one substitute that was allowed in the 1982 FA Cup semi-final between Leicester and Tottenham. And I should, of course, you should know, but I'll explain anyway. It is the Leicester substitute. TNC applies, of course they do always, and they're available on the website leicestertillidie.com. We're available if you want to listen to this back. Listen to me, Craig, and Steve, and we're probably like somebody said earlier, Andy. I think I've got the face for radio. I don't know about the other guys. You can get us on Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, and Podcast Addict under Leicester Till I Die. And don't forget. Also, you can get 30% off Barry Pierpoint's Minding My Own Football Business, Leicester City's first chief executive. It's the story of Leicester City in the 90s. Go to allthews.mindingmyownfootballbusiness.com and you'll get 30% off. And if you ask very, very nicely, Barry will even sign it with a personal comment. What those comments will be after we all held up signs saying Pierpoint out, I don't know. I can't comment on that. Oh, are we excited or are we nervous? I've got to go and buy a colostomy bag because I don't think I'll be able to sit through 90 minutes and be able to not use, or just take a portable telly in the toilet, whichever I suppose is easier and cheaper. But I am getting excited, but I'm also getting really, really nervous. It's going to probably be the best chance we've got of getting to the final. Who do you want in the final? I want Chelsea. I think Chelsea can do Man City, and I think we will stand a better chance against Chelsea than Man City. There it is, Sunday, 18th of April, 2021, 6:30, Leicester Till I Die TV, the FA Cup semi-final. Are we going to have another 9-0? I don't think so, but a 1-0 would do. Guys, we're going to see you. We'll be back on match day on Sunday at 4:40. I'll be joined by ex-Fox Richard Smith and, of course, Josh. We'll be looking at the team and we'll see if Brendan's taken Craig's advice. Of course he would, wouldn't he? Taking Craig's advice and gone for the team that he's picked. And then we'll be about 40 minutes after kick-off with the post-match show. Fingers crossed, guys. Get excited. Let's enjoy the weekend and let's hope we're going to enjoy Sunday, even if I am going to miss line of duty. Hey, one of those things. Stay safe, guys. Good night.
Hello,
now.
Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all them social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.